magician, a kid I got to look at, and saw that you could do something different other than this stodgy old, formal wear tux kind of thing.
Okay, Ron, we're going to go on break, and then we have you about 15 minutes after the break if you want to hang on for another 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll be back with Ron Fitzgerald in about 3 minutes on Night Dreams Talk Radio.
And the Russians, they got their ass kicked too. America's been there many years, and I ask myself why we don't learn from history where empires go to die. They say it's terrorism, that's political malarkey. Just follow where the money goes to a corporate oligarchy. The food crops they once grew with a plow and a hoe been turned into opium poppies, growing row on row. Our infrastructure's crumbling, our social structure too. It's a corporate scam, they don't give a damn while screwing over me and you. Public outrage, I don't hear no public cry about sending young men and women where empires go to die. We lost people and treasure in Vietnam, and there still ain't no upside. We're doing the same in a no-win game where empires go to die. It's a new world order agenda with a demonic rising tide. They want America's soul in a deep dark hole where empires go to die.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you. Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And boy, the time has just flown by tonight like you wouldn't believe. Our guest tonight is Ron Fitzgerald. No, we're not talking about UFOs. We're not talking about the world being flat. We're not talking about, time travel. We're talking about horror movies and what it's like to be a magician in the dark realm. Like Sticky Fun, which Ron is noted for. Hey, one thing I will say, I saw a picture with you with Elvira, you lucky guy.
Oh, yes. I've met her many times, actually. She is awesome. Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. Yeah, she's always been very sweet, very kind, and very funny. Just great to hang out with. I met her at horror conventions that we both worked at.
One thing I do know, if she's set up as Elvira, she could not pass a metal detector. You know that.
With the knife belt?
No. Her bra is made out of metal.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That's how
you have a little support in there somewhere.
Yeah, she actually designed her own bra back when she was doing, late at night and back before that. She wanted that look, and the only way she kept that look without popping out was with a metal bra.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yes, I'd love to see the design of that thing.
Yeah, so would I. Mm-hmm. But, if you see her again, I don't think I would bring it up about, hey, but, she was interviewed about that, and I was shocked. I never thought about a metal bra before, but you know what? That would, if you were out on a date with her, that would be really hard to remove.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. Bulletproof bras. Anyway,
Yes.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, I really, she has mentioned a couple of times she would like to come back and do, like her horror TV shows and stuff again. I don't know why they haven't brought her back on. I tell you, it was interesting. It was excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And who cared about how bad the film was?
Well, and there was just something about her and her humor and her look. And I thought the production values, I mean, there's still a lot of horror hosts out there and everything. And there's a lot of local horror hosts, and a lot of them have gone online. You can catch a lot of them online now. And I could certainly see her having her own streaming show on a platform somewhere. And I wish she would do it, because I would watch that. I mean, there was just always something about her, though. There was just something more upscale about the whole thing. And that was just in the way at how professional and kind of polished it was. I mean, because there's a lot of horror shows I've seen, and horror hosting shows that just, it's kind of like somebody who clearly was not a show business professional, but loved horror and got in a costume and got in front of a fake, a dungeon wall and hosted horror films. And, more power to them. But there is, I think, so many of those kind of shows that when you saw Elvira and a few of the other ones, but it always struck me that Elvira just had the most polished show there was. And I mean, and she was so good as an entertainer, and and had studied at the Groundlings and stuff, so she knew comedy. She could entertain, and she could be funny, and certainly she had sexy at the word go, because she's certainly nice to look at. And that whole, Morticia look that she's got is wonderful. She's like the ultimate goth girl.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and she doesn't seem to age. She's pretty much, you look at her then and now, I mean, she aged a little bit, but, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. She looks amazing. She is gorgeous. And she's gorgeous when you see her in person. I mean, I don't know what kind of blood she's drinking. I don't know what she's doing. I think she's actually vegan or vegetarian, but she takes care of herself, because she looks astonishing in person as well. I can guarantee you that. She's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some of the things, when you think about some of these shows, I don't want to mention the name, but the guy who throws, has chickens thrown at him. I do watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do have his T-shirt.
Panguli. Yeah. I know Sven. He's a friend of mine as well. We actually, because we're both here, he's across the nation now on MeTV, but I mean, he's based in Chicago, so we wind up doing a lot of the same kind of appearances, everything from Halloween gigs to her shows and things year round. And he's a super nice guy and everything. But it is that's his show is very. It's very different than the feel you get, from Elvira and everything like that. And that's because of the kind of humor he's doing and other things. I guess I just like, I'm more, because of my humor and my dark, sticky fun, I am more, I kind of attuned to and a fan of the provocative humor that Elvira uses and stuff,
Up all night.
And a lot of them, a lot of the other ones aren't there. It's more of a kind of a corny humor, and I'm, that's something that I'm, it's fun to watch. But I guess I just like a little more edge and naughtiness. Horror hostess, I guess,
Yeah, and well, I used to tune in to watch her. I didn't care about the movies, but I can tell you, she could take a bad movie, which she admitted a lot of them were bad. But, her little skits in between the movie, you didn't want to miss. You didn't want to flip the channel because you were scared you're going to miss Elvira.
That was exactly it. I mean, you would sit through bad movies just to hear her take on them, and just so you could get to those points where you come back around. I mean, that's any horror host. If you're watching their show, the highlight is really when it comes back around to the host, and you get to see, what their take on it is and what fun they're doing. And their own show and everything, I mean, it makes me wonder why they always, to change up that format. Why not have something that's certainly in that vein, but not then, hooked necessarily on a horror movie. And the reason those horror movies were so bad was a lot of times when you were on smaller stations and things, especially, it just, you're in the media as well. I mean, you have to, the station, then you have to go in and procure this movie package. And the ones that were affordable enough or old enough where you could get public domain movies, which were, free or next to free. When you're hosting those, they're old and they're not great. They're not great movies, and so that's what you're left dealing with the same. And so many of them too, they've all hosted the same movies because it's all the same movie package that everybody was getting a hold of. So to me then, the real test of that genre of horror hosting then is who can go out there and make this the most fun and the most interesting to watch. And certainly, Elvira was always at the top of that list for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully she comes back. She's talk about a movie or something, too, I was reading. So I'm hoping, because I tell you what, she has the talent. And like I said, I mean, it made a bad movie good. The same thing. How long did you do, host a horror show?
Well, my cable show ran from 90 to 96. So for 7 years, I hosted a show and we actually did. I actually flat out hosted movies a couple of times. Sometimes I just did horror movie trailers in the show. They were a regular part of the show, and some of the short form content. But I hosted the movie Attack of the Giant Leeches, which is something that's a classic out of that bad movie package that every horror host out there has to host that movie at some point, because it is a classic B movie, black and white, from like the 50s. And so I hosted Attack of the Giant Leeches, and we had great fun with that. And the rest of it was more like almost a horror host kind of show, but you were getting, it was like exactly what I'm talking about. It was like a horror host, but the whole show was just about, the fun bits, and there was no movie. I mean, and I would throw in, just to give it that feel, on a short form, we would put in horror movie trailers and things like that. And some of them were the old classic movie trailers, and some of them were newer ones at the time. And that was great fun, to be able to have that horror element in the show, because the rest of the horror element is kind of in me and the guests and the other things that I would bring on. I would bring on other entertainers, other things. There was a goth band that I toured with at the time, and in fact, one of their songs, the Vampire's Dance, is in Dark Realm in the movie. It's the Vampire's Dance by a band called the Dark Theater, and that had the leader of the band his name was Vlad. And Vlad was on the show, and his wife Linda at the time, and everything. And so there's vampires. I had a guy, Fernando Fontanez, who dressed up like Batman and would climb like the bridges in Chicago and things, and the cops would have to come and arrest him and everything. I had him on the show. I had other performers and things, and we ran horror movie trailers. I did Gothic Illusions. And we did other things like, call people about, crypts and mausoleums and stuff. They had advertised in the newspaper, and would talk to them and record those conversations and things. So it was very much like... Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. People would have crypts for sale.
Crypts, yeah. We would just go in and find, and they had a crypt in a local cemetery, and they were selling their spaces in the crypt. They had a couple of empty spots, but instead of burial, there was above ground in a mausoleum. And I called this woman and talked to her. That you can see that's in the show Every Day is Halloween, which is part of the Fitzgerald Realm cable TV show, which is on my YouTube channel. You can go watch it yourself when you have a moment. And remember to like and subscribe. And that's in there. So we went, and I just had a nice phone conversation with her, and she was in great humor. And we asked her if we could put her on the air, and she said yeah. And then we talked to her about the mausoleum, the spaces she had in a mausoleum for sale.
Okay.
And it was an interesting conversation. Yeah, so fun. creepy stuff like that. Things that you would see maybe in a talk show, but they were always had that kind of